Hey y'all, I'm Jen Kanowski Morgan. Welcome back to my channel, Beauty and Teaching. If you are new or not subscribed, the button will also be down below in the info bar. So today we are going to be talking about some of the most frequently asked questions that I get as a teacher, and then at the end I'm going to share a couple of my tips that I like to use to help keep my day running smoothly at school. So let's get started. Okay, so the first question is, how did I get into education? And truthfully, it's probably one of the most random answers I could possibly give. So no one in my family is an educator. I do not come from a line of teachers. I am not the 7th generation to go into education. I'm actually the first person in my family to become a teacher. Many, many years ago when I was in high school, I was involved with a program called Science Olympiad, which is really, really awesome. It's kind of like Mathletes, but for science. Getting to participate in this, I absolutely loved it. Competed in high school, we went to state. We didn't do very well, but it was still a lot of fun. And then when I entered into college at East Carolina University, I was studying environmental geology, and within our geology department, we actually helped to facilitate the Science Olympiad competition at East Carolina. Being able to be involved in that, I actually realized that I loved getting to work with 6th, 7th graders to prepare for the competition. And my senior year of college there, I was able to help coach children from one of the local middle schools and just fell in love with it. And one day, after having a heart-to-heart with one of my dear professors, Dr. Woods, love her still to this day, she's amazing. She really was honest with me and told me that I really should think about going into education. She was able to see something that I had not seen in myself, which was that I loved getting to work with the kids and seeing them excited about science. Long story short, from there, I applied to grad school and ended up going to the University of Georgia, where I received my Master's of Arts in Teaching, which is essentially your teaching certification and your Master's in Education in 2 years in a dual program. And I walked away with certification in Science and Social Studies. Coincidentally, that is exactly what I teach, and my second question is, what subjects do I teach and what grade level? So I teach earth science and world cultures to a lovely bunch of 6th grade students here in Panama City. They are absolute dolls, and I love this age group. I never considered teaching anything but middle school. That's not true. There was one point where I went and observed a high school and was terrified at how tall they were and just could not entertain the thought of being with a group of kids that were all taller than me. Some was fine, but not all. Couldn't handle it that every single one of them was taller than me, considering I'm only 5'2". Oftentimes when I meet people out in public, meeting my neighbors around my neighborhood, meeting new people in the area, and the question comes up, what do you do for a living? And I respond with, oh, I'm a teacher. And they always say, oh, bless you, you're so wonderful, what grade do you teach? And then I tell them 6th grade. The most common response that I get is one that has a negative stigma, kind of a negative stand to it. And I don't understand that, because middle school is, while most of us look back on it and think about it being one of the most awkward, horrible, acne-ridden, braces-filled, bad highlights time of our lives, it was also one of the most interesting. I was drawn into wanting to learn more about middle school and work with middle school students because I truly feel as though middle school is the time where children are learning that their actions and reactions to people really matter. This is the age where they can actually begin to process and rationalize their thinking and their thoughts. And to be able to watch a person grow through that and experience the struggle and the triumph of learning to accomplish things like that, to me, is truly the best part about what I do, and I absolutely love it. Alrighty, so if you have made it to this point in the video, you have almost made it to the end. Congratulations. So really quick, I am going to share 3 really simple tips that I have to help make my school day run more smoothly. One tip that I have is I like to get to school I get to school way too early. I get to school about an hour before the day starts, but that's just because I move really slowly in the morning and really need some time to process what it is that I have to do. So one thing that I always do is start off my day by making a to-do list. And I have a super beautiful planner right here, and every single day I write myself a little to-do list with a checklist that helps me stay focused on what tasks it is that I must get done that day. Especially teaching 2 different contents, I really have to make sure that I am on top of making copies and having everything available and making sure that I have exactly what my students need throughout my classes. A second tip that I have is to make sure that you always do attendance within the first 3 minutes of class, because if you are like me and you immediately get started on a tangent, you completely forget and then cannot remember by next class who was there and who wasn't. I actually like to keep a paper copy of my attendance just in the event that there's something that goes wrong with the electronic copy that we use. I always have something to back up my records. So I will insert a picture in somewhere that shows what my paper attendance looks like. I'm actually very fortunate and I'm able to print off these templates from the grading system that we used, which is called Focus. For those of you who use it, you know what I'm talking about. And I always keep this on a clipboard and usually keep it right next to my classroom door. So that way after classes have transitioned and I come back into my room from hallway duty, I'm able to immediately take attendance and then I can always enter it in at the end of the day. So a third tip that I have, which is something that I think all teachers struggle with because there is this constant, I need to be focused on my kids, water. I always have a bottle of water, a cup of tea, something to drink in my classroom. I get hoarse very, very easily, and so oftentimes if I've had a full day of lecture where I have to talk, and I absolutely dislike those days just as much as my kids do, I am so hoarse and my voice is so raspy, I sound awful, and no one wants to listen to that. So something that I always try to do is make sure that I stay hydrated and drink enough water throughout the day. So those are all my tips for today. I hope y'all have a super awesome week, and I will see you next time. Bye!